88 years old. A massive mansion in Pennsylvania, once a symbol of wealth and success, now feels like a museum without visitors. Once, the place was alive with parties, commercial shoots, meetings with politicians and celebrities. Now, only emptiness and ringing silence remain. This house, more than 80,000 square feet, once worth tens of millions, had it all. A pool, a private movie theater, a recording studio where he used to rehearse before concerts. But today, all of it has turned into cold halls where the only sounds are his cough and the creak of wooden floors. On the walls hang dozens of photographs. In them, he is with his wife Camille, with his children, with colleagues, with Presidents Bill Clinton and Barack Obama, who once called him a role model for a generation. Now, those photos look like a cruel joke, the smiles of the past staring down at an old man sitting alone. The TV in the corner plays old episodes of The Cosby Show. On the screen, he is young, confident, adored by millions. But next to the screen sits another man, hunched over, moving slowly, with eyes that have lost their sparkle. How did America's dad become an outcast? How did a home built for celebration turn into a prison without bars? To understand that, we must go back to the beginning. Bill Cosby was born in 1937 in Philadelphia. He grew up in poverty, his father left, and his mother raised 4 children alone. Money was so tight that they often lacked food. At 10 years old, Bill began working, delivering groceries, mopping floors, just to help his mother. At school, his sense of humor kept him afloat. Teachers complained that he disrupted classes, but jokes became his weapon. As a teenager, he performed in small clubs, mimicking voices, parodying neighbors, joking about racial struggles. People laughed as if they could forget, for a moment, about poverty and injustice. In 1963, he first appeared on The Tonight Show. 2 years later, he landed the lead role in I Spy. It was groundbreaking. For the first time, an African-American actor wasn't playing a servant or a stereotype, but an equal partner. Cosby won 3 consecutive Emmy Awards. America saw that he was breaking barriers. The true explosion came in 1984, The Cosby Show, a sitcom that became the symbol of an era. He played Dr. Cliff Huxtable, the devoted husband and father of 5. Every week, tens of millions of viewers tuned in. At its peak, the show reached a 30% rating, 1/3 of the country watching at the same time. For African Americans, it was a symbol. Finally, a family on TV where they were successful, educated, and loved. For white viewers, it was a bridge, showing that family, love, and care are universal. By the 1990s, he was called America's Dad. Universities awarded him more than 60 honorary degrees. Charities invited him everywhere. His name became synonymous with trust. He endorsed Coca-Cola, Del Monte, and his contract with Jell-O lasted over 30 years, a record in advertising history. His fortune was estimated in the hundreds of millions. In 2002, TV Guide named him America's greatest TV star. It seemed nothing could touch him, but the louder the applause, the darker the shadow behind the curtain. Even in the 1980s, rumors surfaced. Women spoke of parties where they lost memory. Some claimed they had been given pills, but the stories were silenced. In the 2000s, the first major complaint came from Andrea Constand, a Temple University employee. She accused Cosby of drugging her and assaulting her. The case didn't reach trial, but it became the start of an avalanche. In 2005, everything shifted. During questioning, Cosby admitted he had indeed purchased Quaaludes, a popular sedative at the time, and given them to women before sex. This wasn't rumor or journalism. These were his own words, recorded in court documents. He spoke calmly, as if it were ordinary, and maybe he believed it would never come back to haunt him. After all, prosecutors had promised him immunity at the time. But the truth was out. If he admitted to drugging women for sex, what did that mean about the dozens of other stories? By 2014, the dam broke. One woman spoke out. sharing the story she had carried for decades. At first, few believed her. Cosby was too big, too iconic. But within days, others came forward. 10, then 60. America was swept by a storm of accusations. And not just from unknown women. Beverly Johnson, the supermodel and first African-American on the cover of Vogue, revealed that Cosby invited her to his home, gave her coffee, and minutes later, she felt her body shutting down. "I couldn't move. All I could see was his face," Johnson recalled. She cursed at him and fled, but she stayed silent for decades, knowing her career would end if she spoke out. If even someone like her had been afraid, how many others never spoke at all? Television cut ties. Netflix canceled his birthday special, Bill Cosby 77. NBC dropped plans for a new show. Columbia University revoked his award for culture. The nation was stunned. For decades, he had been America's dad. Now, dozens of women said he had ruined lives. Fans split. Some shouted, "Witch hunt." Others asked, "But what if it's true?" And Cosby remained silent. Why? Did he not know what to say? Or did he know that any word could be the final nail in his legacy's coffin? By 2015, he faced criminal charges in Andrea Constand's case, the first time accusations went to trial. The courtroom was packed. Cameras, reporters, thousands of eyes. He sat motionless, face hidden behind dark glasses. His hands trembled. One by one, women testified. Their stories spanned decades in cities, but the details matched. Quaaludes, memory loss, mornings they never wanted to remember. His lawyers attacked inconsistencies. Prosecutors countered with documents, letters, testimonies. The tension in the room was suffocating. In 2017, the first trial ended without a verdict, but in 2018, it was retried. This time, the jury was unanimous, guilty. Bill Cosby became the first major entertainer convicted in that wave. The judge sentenced him to 10 years in prison. For millions, the illusion was shattered forever. The man who had embodied kindness now symbolized betrayal. And the verdict was just the beginning. Universities stripped him of honorary degrees, the Mark Twain Prize, the Kennedy Center honor, even his honorary Navy officer title. Of 72 awards he had received, 62 were rescinded. Organizations he had donated millions to said, "We don't want to be associated with his name." Networks pulled his shows. TV Land stopped airing The Cosby Show. Columbia University and others erased his name from honor rolls. Headlines read, "The Fall of a Legend." Commentators said, "America is erasing him from memory." And it wasn't a metaphor. His shows were pulled from broadcast, his name deleted from lists of honorees. Colleagues who once called him great appeared on TV. We were wrong. We never knew who he really was. That was perhaps worse than the prison sentence. Losing freedom was a blow, but losing the respect of an entire nation, that was death while still alive. On September 25, 2018, Bill Cosby was sent to a Pennsylvania state correctional facility. The man once called America's dad now shared a prison with drug dealers and rapists. He was 81, his eyesight failing, his health weak, battling diabetes. On the first day, he was given inmate number NN7687, a name known worldwide reduced to digits. He was placed in solitary confinement. Concrete walls, a metal bed, a toilet, and a small window. All that was left of a life once worth millions. At first, inmates treated him with respect. Some even called him Papa Cos. He gave lectures, told jokes, but it was only a mask. At night, he was alone. In the silence, every sound became a nightmare. He complained about food, the cold, the constant light in his cell. Through his lawyers, he called himself a political prisoner, comparing himself to Mandela. But in reality, he was no one. Just an old man living by the prison schedule. Wake up, breakfast, yard time, dinner, lights out. Prison broke him, not physically, but mentally. For the first time in decades, he realized power, money, and connections no longer mattered. Which is worse, losing freedom or seeing that fame can't save you, even behind concrete walls? In June 2021, something unexpected happened. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court overturned his conviction, not because he was innocent, but because of a legal error. Back in 2005, prosecutor Bruce Castor had promised Cosby that his admissions in the Constand case wouldn't be used against him. That was why he had confessed to using Quaaludes. But in the later trial, those very admissions formed the core of the prosecution's case. The court ruled this violated his rights. On June 30, 2021, Bill Cosby walked free. The photos of him leaving prison circled the globe. He raised his hand, smiling. His lawyers declared, "Justice has been served." But had it? America saw it as a slap in the face. Dozens of women said, "We've been betrayed again." Headlines read, "Free but not exonerated." His lawyers celebrated, but TV didn't restore his shows. Colleagues stayed silent. To the public, he remained guilty. Everyone waited for him to speak, to say, "I'm guilty," or at least, "I regret it." Any admission might have softened the public's anger. Instead, he gave an interview and said 3 words, "I feel no remorse." Those words hit like thunder. Even those who hesitated now turned away completely. His voice carried no strength, no defiance, only coldness and fatigue. Journalists wrote, "He speaks not for truth, but for stubbornness." Psychologists said, "This is self-defense. Admitting guilt would destroy him completely." But society heard something else. Society heard emptiness. After release, he returned to his Pennsylvania mansion, the same 80,000 square foot palace once nicknamed Cosby's Castle. 3 floors, pool, gym, private theater. Once alive with laughter and parties, now echoing with silence. Netflix never released Bill Cosby 77. NBC never returned. His shows remained off the air. And in this empty mansion, only he remained. It seemed nothing worse could happen, but the past kept catching up. In 2022, in Los Angeles, a new trial began, Judy Huth's case. She claimed that in 1975, at just 16 years old, he invited her to a party at the Playboy Mansion, and there, something happened that scarred her for life. Nearly 50 years later, a jury believed her. The verdict, guilty of sexual assault on a minor. He was ordered to pay $500,000 in damages. This shocked even those who had long turned away. This wasn't about adults or legal gray areas. This was about a teenager, a girl, caught in the orbit of a superstar. America asked again, if the truth surfaces after 50 years, how many more stories are still hidden? At night, he wanders the empty halls of his mansion. Photographs of his smiling younger self stare at him with icy silence. He wonders what else might come to light. Bill Cosby's journey, from a poor boy in Philadelphia to America's dad. He became a symbol of hope, proof that an African American could become the nation's face. He made history, breaking barriers. But the journey ended in a dramatic fall. 60 women, dozens of matching stories, his own confession about Quaaludes, a prison number, stripped awards, an interview without remorse, and an accusation involving a minor nearly half a century later. Today, his name is not a symbol of hope, but a warning that no fame, no money, no connections can shield you from the truth. A warning that even the greatest talent can be forever overshadowed by the weight of accusations. The story of Bill Cosby remains one of the most controversial in American culture, a story of an extraordinary rise and a devastating fall. The story of a man who once made millions laugh, but in the end was left alone, in a mansion that feels like a prison, with questions he never found the answers to.